Columbia, very tough crew to contend with. One of our own, Scott Alwyn, used to coach. He coached me as a freshman, our freshman lightweight coach, and now he is the head coach at Columbia. Um, Great guy, great coach, really knows what he's doing, and his crews are always very strong, very hotly contested. They will not give up in a fight. Delaware, I unfortunately did not have the opportunity to race Delaware. They're kind of a new lightweight crew on the scene. We got this race in. It's not usual for Princeton, Columbia, and Delaware to race. Usually Princeton's last regular season race is HYP's, which was last weekend. But we're very excited to be able to host Columbia and Delaware here on Carnegie. The Delaware head coach, Chuck Crawford, was talking to our own coach, Marty Karate, and he has a lot of respect for Crawford. He's been working very hard at Delaware. The lightweights have been really up and coming the last few years, and they're going off to Dadville's next week, so best of luck to them. Earlier in the season, Columbia and Delaware has raced, so these two crews have raced each other, and it's a chance to settle the score once again. Getting alignment here. Crews tapping. Wind, again, a little bit of a headwind on the course today, but otherwise pretty calm, pretty flat. But very important for these crews to get proper alignment early so that they don't get blown off course. This is the last race for a few of the seniors on Lake Carnegie. Nate Jaffel in the third boat here. Senior, last race, a clean start. Looks like Columbia, maybe about a seat or two off the start here. Both crews rowing very high. Princeton striking about a 42, but looking very clean. Delaware now on the outside lane. Their high strokes, very high on the high strokes, and they have taken a little bit of a lead here. Delaware maybe a half seat over Columbia. Columbia about two and a half seats over Princeton here as we come up to the 250 meter mark. Delaware and Columbia through the line almost at the same time here. About a 44 seconds to that 250 mark. Princeton about 2-3 seats down on Delaware. Delaware about 2-3 seats down on Columbia. Very tight racing in this first 500. All crews settling out. Looks like Princeton a little bit higher than this Columbia crew. Both crews striding about 34, 35 on the rate here. They're going to come through the 500 meter mark. 128 from Columbia, 130 from Princeton. So very close still here. But Columbia will have almost a length of lead on Princeton coming through that 500 meter mark. Delaware about 2-3 seats up on Princeton in that outside first lane. Columbia looking very strong here, continuing to push their lead as we come into the 750 to go, or 750 in. Delaware still 2-3 seats up on Princeton. And as we come through the 750, Columbia still maintaining open water lead over Delaware. Delaware 2-3 seats over Princeton here. Princeton making, seems to be a little bit of a move on Delaware. Yep, there they go. They are now level with Delaware. Yep, big move from Princeton here. They've even pushed back in on Columbia. They now have 2 or 3 seats over Delaware as they come into the final strokes of the first 1,000. Yep, Princeton really breaking this Delaware crew down here. About 4 or 5 seats now as they reach the 1,000 meter. Columbia will come through the 1,000 meter at a 3:05.13. Princeton will come through the 1,000 meter at a 3:11. And Delaware only 2 or 3 seconds behind Princeton. Princeton taking the bow ball of the Delaware crew, but Columbia still with an open water lead over Princeton. Princeton have a lot of work to do if they want to catch this Columbia crew. They're still rowing pretty strong here. Getting their blades in together, sitting up. Delaware falling down back behind Princeton now. They've tried to take a 10 to respond, but it doesn't look like they're making any ground up on Princeton. Princeton with about a full-length lead over Delaware. Columbia with about almost 3 or 4 seats of open water over Princeton. As we come in to the last 750, coming up on the 500 meter to go now. Columbia still with a commanding lead. Princeton leading now against Delaware 3, 4, 5 seats almost. Yep, they took a little move there, a little bit more press. I can hear the Princeton coxswain calling for a big move here as they come to the 500 meter mark. Columbia will pass 500 meters with 4:42. Princeton 4:48, so about 6 seconds back. Delaware 4:54, so Columbia still commanding leads, sitting up well, getting those blades in together. Not a lot of rush at the front end. Not getting clear of their puddles though, as they move into this headwind. Princeton taking up the rate now. Still only about 35 from both crews. And Columbia will pass into the last 250 to go at 5:30. Princeton 5:37. Princeton a lot of work to do in this last 250 if they want to catch Columbia. And they're doing it with rate here. 36 now. Delaware about 2 lengths of open back from Princeton. Princeton about 3 or 4 seats back from Columbia as Columbia nears the finish line here. And Columbia will take first with a time of 6:22.17 unofficial. Princeton, time of 6:27.74. And Delaware coming through strong in the line here. A time of 6:37.4. So very strong racing from all crews there. Good fight between Princeton and Delaware early.